So we're gonna do some motion animation. What I want you guys to do is open any of your drawings that you've previously created that you want to do a motion path animation, and I will show you how to do that. Basically what you want to start out with is a path. We're going to start with something simple. So if you have one, say a particular object, I'm going to move these together. I don't have too much anything that exciting to show, so I'm just going to use this shape right here. Let's say this is my item I'm working with. I'm going to create a circle that is going to go around the object like so. As you can see, it's at the center and the center. So height wise it's almost at the center, and at the top view it's also almost at center. From there, what we're going to do is go into, there is a view tab if you have your menu open, so you have to show your menu bar. Go to view, motion path animation, and what you're going to do is it's going to come up with a window anytime now. It's going to come up with this window where you're going to select a few options. Basically what we're going to start with is the camera. You decide either to place it at a specific point or for it to follow a path. And you also have the option for the target, which you specify a point or path. So for the camera, we're going to select a path. We go into this select option, click on it, and we select our circle that we created. You can specify the path. And then we move on to our target. Right now, it's default to path, where it just the camera follows the path. This is not what we want. Instead, we're going to select the part, or a point, sorry. We're going to select a point, and you can just click anywhere in the center of the part that you have, and you can call it center. So now it has a coordinate system based on your XY coordinate system as your target, and your circle as your path. Before we go any farther, we also need to set up the animation settings. I recommend setting up it to 300 frames. Oh, actually 300 frames per second. No, that's too much. So we'll do 50, and we want frames 500, and that gives us 10 seconds of video. Our display is going to be based on what it is. If you guys have a rendered object, you may want to decide to do that, but before you do that, remember any rendered material will take a lot longer, so try to keep it as simple as possible. So show it as displayed or conceptual, and then if you like the way the video is set up, you start adding in the rendered up to the presentation, just like how we rendered material or we did a rendered screen. The format, I do recommend WMV, which is like a Windows-based movie player. There's also AVI and all these other ones that I'm not too familiar with. The resolution also can be modified. You can go high at the end, but start low. Otherwise, your computer may not be able to handle this. And before you do any animations, I would always recommend saving your work, because any changes you may have created, and if the animation decides to crash your computer, you will lose that, of course. So save your work before you go into the animation. Once you have that, you click on preview, and it gives you a lovely preview of your camera flowing through your path at a specific point. So you can play it a few times, and you can even change the view. So realistic, shades, and so forth for your own preference. So that gives you a preview. If you're happy with the video, you click OK, and you could save it onto your computer or a flash drive or wherever you like. So that would be like video 1, and that would be my first video. And of course that takes some time to create, especially if it's a rendered material and so forth. I had it set at conceptual, so it's not as big as a file. So there's a lot of so's. but that resolves and creates my video for this part. So let's see what you guys have. So our next option is, if we have a circle, what you can actually do is create a different path. It doesn't have to be a circle, and it doesn't have to be on a specific XY coordinate. Now, there's a few easy ways of doing this, and there's of course the more difficult way. I would recommend creating a rectangle or a square around your object based on like the top view. So I have it a rectangle, doesn't matter where it's located as long as the part is at the center. I move it, if I need to, I move it using the gizmo or the move command. And I create points from the corner or the midpoints of where I want the camera to be at a certain moment. So I do this for a specific reason, for my spline. So it makes it easier to draw the actual path of the spline. And if I want to, I can even edit it as I go.
It's kind of like a roller coaster kind of thing with the camera?
Yeah.
It has to be closed?
I recommend closing it, but no, it does not have to be closed. It can be open, and it can actually go over itself. It can do a lot of different
But it'll
things.
stop if you don't close it, right?
Yes, it will stop. So I'll do a separate path. One is completely enclosed, and the other one that it's not. So let's say my end. So this one actually, there's two paths. This one's, but they're both blue. I'm just gonna change this one to green. So the green one is my path that is not enclosed. My blue is my path that is enclosed. I do recommend keeping these different paths in different layers. That way you can turn on and off which layer you're preferring to use and so forth. So basically, we'll do the open path first. So we go again to View, Motion Path Animation. Path for my camera, which is the green. I'm not going to name it, I'm just going to use path 1 as the default. And the target, and it's the same point, or you can change the point as you wish. I'm going to leave it as the same point. And I have number of frames 500, frames rate 50, and the duration is 10. So if I want to increase the time, I can increase, say 15. That automatically increases the number of frames, which makes the video longer. So you can work both ways. I can change from conceptual to realistic to give it a little bit more texture. And yeah, I'm going to do a preview. So it starts from there, it's still pointing at it. It's going around like so, and it sees the other parts on the drawing too far away, but it still sees them. And the path, and it ends right there when it collides into the part. Now if I do the...
So you can do a path like that if you had to.
Now there's two different options in here. There's a corner deceleration and reverse option. The corner deceleration, what it does is when you have a sharp turn like you see here, it will actually slow down. That way it doesn't make that turn so fast. And the reverse, well, it pretty much goes in reverse. So as you can see, it's going in reverse from where it started from. Also the same setup and everything. So you may decide that you come from inside or outside, it's up to you, or you can do two separate videos. So that is that green path. Now if I change my path to the blue one, which is completely enclosed, click OK, and I'm just going to keep everything as same, except I'm going to do preview. So now it starts from there and it goes across. As you can see, as it gets closer and it rotates around, it's still pointing at the same location. Does not change ever. And you can do the same thing with the reverse option. Oh, that was reverse. Unreverse. Oh no, cancel. Preview. So it goes this direction. Again, you can always modify the. Actually, that was pretty cool, and you can pause it too. So there's a pause option here, so you can actually see where you want to edit it to make it closer, or is it too close, or like at this point I don't see the top. Maybe I want to edit that, move it back more. So that gets you more control. Now this is not like an animation program, but it does give you a feel of what the part is that you designed in a 3D view. Okay, so in addition to that, what you can do is modify the camera itself by going into your View tab here. You go into Display and you say Display Cameras. So cameras, you click on it and that should be active. So when you're working with and creating a camera, so if I go into my views and I actually do the motion path animation and I accept, so I'm going to select the path, green, okay, point, yes, okay, and I click OK, accept it, I create the video. So it's loading up. And once that's done, it's going to show me a camera. It's like a preview camera of what it is. And that's where you can edit the screen size or the distance for that. So if you're, it's just like the one of the lights we dealt with, and that creates a bigger picture of the part or a smaller picture depending on how you want to show it. So it's up to you how you guys want to set that up, but that gives you that option. So to activate that, you go into View, Display, and you activate the camera so you can see that. The one thing that you have to worry about is camera is it's only placed in the top view. So pretty much if your object is rotated incorrectly, so it's like placed upside down or on the, the top view is not the actual top view of the part, then you're going to be in trouble and you'll see your camera going sideways. So what you need to do is make sure your 3D object its top is on the top plane or top view. So when you go into your views, when you go into top, you should be able to see the top of your 3D object. Once you create a camera, you can select it and you'll see that's where the camera is at that point. You are inside the camera. That's, I don't know, you may want to use that or you may not want to use that. In addition to this, what you may want to do is put a background. So you can type in background, and of course you can use a gradient or an image and so forth, and that will help you better see the actual presentation of the motion path animation. So once you have the part, what you can try going forward to is going into a rendered view of the part. So if you do the motion path animation, you can also change it to a low, medium, high rendering format. The only problem is in the preview window they don't even show you that, because it takes so long to create. So if you're going to do that, be careful making sure your frame size and so forth is not too big and your resolution isn't too high. I'm not going to save this one because this one's not worth my time, but the next one I'll do. In addition to that, we also have one more step, which is creating a path for the camera to view at. So I'll show you guys how to do that next. So once you actually completed that path, what we can do is create a path inside the part. So let's say my camera is, as you can see, the path, we're going to use the blue path. I'm going to use the blue path as my path, and I'm going to create a helix inside, a spline inside of the part. So the path that it's targeting is going to be completely different from the actual part. Now this is going to be, one of these steps where I have to do this whole rectangle thing and so forth. I may decide to skip that and just scale this part down. So I make a copy of this component. I'm just going to offset it just a little bit, and I'm going to scale it down based on the center. So I'm going to scale it down to maybe 20% of its size. So you see a path in the center, and you see the path on the outside. And if I want to make it a little bit different, I'm going to even rotate this around, so it's not exactly matching its own part. So this would be the blue on the outside is my camera path, and this brownish color is the target path. So now if I go into my views, oh, did I lose that? No. Oh, there's view, motion path animation. The path I am selecting for my camera is the blue, the outside, and the path for a target. So instead of selecting a point, I'm going to select a path, and I'm going to select the brown. And I'm going to move this over so you guys can see how the camera is moving around this area and following that brown path. So it's not always focusing at the center of the part, but instead it's focusing on these brown paths. Now if that didn't look too interesting, so I'm going to adjust this path a little bit more so you guys get a feel of what that means. I'm going to extend this out a little too much, and I'm going to do that once more. View, motion path animation, path 1 is blue, my second path is the brown, and I do a preview. So it's following the brown line this way as it gets around. You can see that, so I can do it again once more. So it's following, that's why you don't see anything here other than the lines that were created and your path.